Argument basically suggesting that Daniel's mind was so warped and influenced by the game that he literally thought that if he shot his parents, they would recover, respawn, or just magically get better.
See, I think this is the thing. When people live in like smaller cities or smaller, like more like rural areas, like you don't really have real life to compare it to. Like the gaming killers, the internet's deadliest gamers. Hey man,
a lot of folks out there,
let's see what we
gaming
got
is
here.
their way to relax.
True.
The feeling of coming home from school or work,
PK
hopping
was
into a
good.
voice call with the homies and playing some banter-filled matches, it's really a tough feeling to beat. It rejuvenates the soul, which is strange to me because I remember hearing all this stuff growing up in the 90s about how video games would rot your brain and make you become violent. That being said though, there have been a few disturbing examples of people with video game addictions and other unhealthy gaming relationships committing heinous crimes.
Oh, nah,
From
here we
bloody
go.
disputes over rare in-game items to gaming romances turned sour to a kid shooting his
Bro, I heard about people who be playing like Dungeons and Dragons or D&D. That's what D&D stand for, right? They'll play D&D and they actually believe like the role playing they're doing. There was some Twitch streamer, I forgot what his name is. I watched a video on him. Get that man out of here. Box him up. He's done.
his parents over Halo 3 being taken.
He said, what?
Romances turned sour to a kid shooting his parents over Halo 3.
Yo, imagine your family take the game because, you know what I'm saying, you doing too much shooting and you say, all right, bet, we going to do this in real life then. You're done.
Being taken away. And in today's video, I'd like to look where murder and video gaming intersect. These are the video game killers. Before we start, I want to thank today's sponsor, Warby Parker, for providing your boy with
Shout
the
out
slick,
Warby Parker, link in the description.
involves a small
Facts.
group of players,
Hold on, let's back this up. Let's back this up.
wavy.
The Discord. Oh.
Our first story involves a small group of players from an old MMORPG discovering disturbing images posted to a Discord server. These images would eventually lead to a criminal investigation and the arrest of a deranged killer. This
Okay.
story begins with an online game called Perfect World. Perfect World International is an MMO that was released back in 2005.
What's MMO stand for?
Essentially a Chinese knockoff of World of Warcraft. The main game is pretty much dead today, but the private server community surrounding the game is still thriving. And in 2019, one of these thriving private server communities was that of Perfect World Void. And it's a Perfect World Void player that will be the focus of this tale. That player was known by the name Minhaz. A highly active player inside this Perfect World private server, Minhaz was also an active member of the Perfect World Void Discord as well. In the Discord, he had a bit of a reputation and was known for being a troublesome troll of sorts. In particular, Minhaz was also known for being a staunch atheist, and he often left incendiary comments disparaging religion to the Discord server and in the game itself under the name Allah. Minhaz had a particular
denouncing religion with the name Allah in the game, you finished.
dislike for the religion of
Massive
Islam,
multiplayer
citing
online?
his
Okay,
hatred
bet.
came from parents pushing their religious beliefs on him growing up. Now, Minhaz would often type in this sort of edgy / 4chan influenced dialect, so at times it was kind of difficult to tell if he was joking around. He really kept his intentions ambiguous at times. A lot of people wrote Minhaz off as being nothing more than just an edgy shit poster. So you might imagine when he sent the following message to a Perfect World Void community member on Discord, they probably thought he was kidding around. I just slaughtered my entire family.
He better have been kidding.
And will most likely spend the rest of my life in jail if I manage to survive. His Discord associate replies, "Nani? I just woke up." The member likely thinking this was another one of Minhaz's trolling bits. Minhaz then replies, "I'm sorry, do you want the pics?"
Yo, this is sick behavior.
The friend replies, "Okay." Moments later, Minhaz begins sending over graphic photography showing 4 dead bodies covered in blood with their throats slit. Briefly in shock, the friend quickly replies, "That's not your family."
That's what I would have said.
Minhaz says, "It is." "If that's true, why did you do it? Hello? Is this another troll?" The apparent killer replies with, "No, I'm sorry to say." Minhaz then stops replying for the time. In a state of
Why would you even
panic,
joke
this
like that?
online friend, who would later reveal himself to the media
Pack
as
him up
being a man named
immediately. True.
Maroon Ayub, he would start contacting other members of the Discord, informing them of the situation and the photos that had been sent. And when presented the situation, other Perfect World Void members would confess to Maroon that Minhas had sent them the photos as well. The recipients of these horrifying photos would then band together and formed an impromptu investigation team regarding the situation. Maroon and his associates were initially skeptical, thinking that perhaps the images were downloaded from the dark web or some shock site, and Minhas was simply using this as some sort of trolling campaign to mess with them. But after performing extensive reverse image searches on the photos that they had received, they weren't able to yield any results and couldn't find any other matches of what they were sent on the internet. It appeared that these photos that Minhas was in possession of were original photography, never before uploaded online. And with this realization, the group was facing the grim reality that Minhas was likely not joking in his messages. They were dealing with an extremely serious situation here. Moments after they had reached this conclusion, Minhas began typing more messages to Maroon, explaining himself further. I know I'm a pathetic coward subhuman. I'll be turning myself in. Why did you choose murdering them, though? I've been planning this for 3 years.
Yo, this is sick. This is sick.
Why? I started skipping university in the first year I entered. It was for mechanical engineering. Believe me, if I could rewind time, I would. But after failing half my subjects, I had to repeat my courses. It is here in second semester that I started getting depressed and became an atheist and ultimately created this plan. So for 3 years, I've been telling my parents I go to university.
See, this is why you always got to ask people why they think the things that they think, okay? Because he didn't become an atheist because he actually believed it. He became an atheist because it justified the life that he was going through. You know what I'm saying? Man.
University, when actually I was just hanging out at the mall 4 days a week. The mall is on the same route as my university. I told my parents that my classes weren't that long, so I would just chill at the mall from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. while also going to community gym. I did this because I don't want my parents to feel the shame of having a son like me. I chose to kill them instead out of my own cowardice.
Run, boy, get, oh my, how old is he?
Due to me being
he
an atheist,
ran away. He got
I believe
options,
that this is the only life we get. I know it might sound confusing, but what's done is done, and what had been planned has been concluded. I'm sorry if this makes you upset. Please try and remember the good times. So according to what Minhas had typed to Maroon here, it appeared as if the young man was living some sort of double life, lying to his family about attending college for multiple years, when in reality he was just skipping classes, going to the mall, and doing little more than playing a bunch of video games. And with this being college, there would be an eventual graduation date, and with this graduation date apparently
made some
looming,
content, put it on YouTube.
Would decide to murder his family. And
this was in 2019? Oh my God, bro. I was gonna make a very bad joke, but I'm not gonna make it, okay? But ah man.
Instead of simply going through the
he has so many other options, all right? You could have took your Discord, put them videos on YouTube, edited it up. At least you could have did that at the mall. You know what I'm saying? So at least when you pop back up to your family, like, hey, mom and dad, I'm making $3,000 a month off YouTube now. I actually dropped out a year ago. You know, I hope you accept this. Hopefully I can get to a reasonable wage that y'all accept. An engineering style way. He had options. It was better than this.
Shame and telling the truth of what he had actually been doing for the past few years. Maroon replies, "It honestly doesn't affect me. I'm just sad that you chose to go this way, though I am sure your family loved you since you were able to kill them through their trust of safety. Even if you were at your lowest spot, you can fight your way up. But as you said, what's done is done. I can't see why your actions make any good or sense, but you do. Murder remains a major crime of selfishness, though.
True.
I'm just sad that you chose to damage others and yourself. Though, why their lives and not yours?" Minhas says,
True.
"I'm a pathetic coward and
Whoa, listen, listen. It's a valuable question right there. It's a valuable question.
Human. Since I'm an atheist, I believe there's no afterlife. So I was scared to die, and I wanted them to die so they didn't suffer knowing how much of a pathetic subhuman I was. It's all very selfish. I'm just pathetic. Minhas would go silent again.
He's
It's at this
done.
point where members of the Perfect World Void community started working on doxing Minhas as to reveal his full name and address so they could report him to police. Doing a meticulous social media deep dive, the Discord group managed to discover that the man's full name was Minhas Zaman, and an IP address associated with one of Minhas's accounts indicated him as being a resident of the Greater Toronto, Canada area. One online friend would discover that Minhas had at one point accidentally shared his home address with them during a PayPal transaction.
Oh, he's done.
And this address synced up with the Greater Toronto docs found in the IP grab. Members of Maroon's impromptu Discord investigative
gentlemen, we
squad
got
would
him.
then make calls to the Toronto police, informing them of the grisly photos sent on Discord and the messages that Minhas had been sending about his family. Taking the matter seriously, police looked over the reports and verified the address was indeed the Zaman family residence. It was a nice-looking home located just northeast of Toronto in the city of Markham, 1006 Castlemore Avenue. With a confirmed address
done
in
got this
hand on
man
the afternoon of
crib.
July 28th,
Don't play with
police
the-
would
the-
set
the-
out to
the
the
dark
family
web, boy.
home to perform a wellness check. When the squad cars arrived at the house, Minhas noticed them outside and sent the following message over Discord. "The police are here. Goodbye." Moments later, cops enter the residence and are met with a horrifying scene. Police would discover the dead bodies of
He just
all
left
four
the-
of Minhas's immediate family members. Each had been brutally beaten with a crowbar and their throats slit. The victims included his 50-year-old mother, his 59-year-old father, his 21-year-old sister, and 70-year-old grandmother.
What? Yo, beating your granny, all right? Yo, son, beating your granny with a crowbar, then slitting. Come on, what are you doing, hold up.
9-year-old father, his 21-year-old sister,
Why you had to do that to your sister, big fella? She had a. Never mind.
and 70-year-old grandmother. In the wake of the gruesome discovery, Minhas was immediately arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. This Perfect World Discord killer had been taken into custody thanks to the help of the online community surrounding the game. It was later discovered by police that Minhas had actually systematically executed his murders the day prior. On the afternoon of July 27th, his father and sister went to their respective jobs. Mother and grandmother would remain home with Minhas. When his mother and grandmother would take a nap, that's when Minhas started his killing spree, killing them in their sleep. After dispatching
But he did granny and mom in, and nothing flashed to be like, yo, this is wrong. Maybe I should stop. You know, waited for the other one to come. There's no way this happened.
the
Bro.
two, Minhas would log on to Perfect
no way he
World
did
and
this
began
and it
messaging
didn't
people
register in
about
his
the
head while
killings
he
on
was doing it.
Discord. Several hours later, his sister would come home. The deranged man ambushes her at the door with a crowbar and slits her throat, killing her. Minhas would do the same around midnight to his father when the man returned from work.
A community is in utter disbelief after 4 people were found murdered inside this house yesterday. We are live on Castlemore Avenue in Markham, where we are learning more about the 4 victims.
That is
A source
insane.
tells City News they are the suspect's father, mother,
Shanetta was good.
grandmother, and sister.
When news of the murder spread around the local community, the question being asked by everyone was why?
Exactly.
Well, it turns out the explanation Minhas had given to the Discord crew turned out to be mostly true, and that was actually his motive.
3 years?
Minhas would confess that he killed his entire family to avoid being shamed by them for flunking out of college. The man cited that he had been lying to his family about college attendance as far back as 2015. A lie like this wasn't sustainable forever, but rather than eventually have to tell the truth to his family, in 2016 he hatched a plan that dictated that he would murder all of his family on the day of his school's graduation ceremony. I think it's clear that this was a plan that he followed through with.
Who does he think he is? You don't, bro. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there and you are devising a plot, you know what I'm saying, like this, just don't do it, bro. Just this is not worth it. It's not worth it.
While on trial, Minhas was showed
That
no
Jay was
mercy
good.
by the courts. While it's understandable to feel shame regarding one's own academic underperformance, to think that one is justified in killing their entire family
Is it
to avoid
crazy?
feeling shame for that is unacceptable.
That also goes against people who be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Bullying works. Hey, listen, shame will get people to do some crazy things. Am I justifying it? Not a chance, right?
Psychopathic, and just absolutely
selfish. He knew what he was
reprehensible
doing.
in every
Exactly.
way. Minhas was a complete coward. There was no justification for it. The killings weren't done in self-defense. His family wasn't abusing him. And a lot of people throw around there's societal pressures within his culture to perform in academia. All right, maybe, but that doesn't mean you kill your fucking family. During trial, the judge presiding over the case had this to say: "It is difficult to imagine a more horrific way to take a human life than by slitting the victim's throat."
True.
Mr. Zaman did so not just once, but four separate times over a span of hours.
Yeah.
No right-thinking member of society would see any
no
remote
chance of
correlation
parole
between the imminent disclosure of the secret of Mr. Zaman's non-attendance at school and the vicious taking of the lives of the 4 people closest to him. In November of 2020, Discord quadruple murderer, 24-year-old Minhas Zaman, would be sentenced to serve life in prison with a chance of parole after 40
With the what? Yo, man, what are we talking about, huh?
years served. Without the intervention of the Void Discord community, it's possible that Minhas could have gotten away with his.
Okay, this man slit his family's throat, okay? And they gave him life with possibility of parole.
His heinous crimes. Perhaps if given time, he could have gone into hiding, fled the country, and assumed a new identity. But thanks to these mostly anonymous individuals, the self-described subhuman faced justice. And that is the story of Minhas Zaman.
I think he would have got caught, even if they didn't turn him in, though.
Killer.
His sister and dad stopped showing up at work. They definitely would have caught on to something, all right?
Our next story involves 2 Chinese gamers getting into a dispute over a rare in-game item. When one player betrays the trust of another, things quickly get criminal. This story begins with an old online game, Legend of Mir 3. Legend of Mir was a top-down isometric MMORPG released in 2004. Developed by South Korean studio We Made Games, the title was immensely popular in Asia and once maintained an active player base of over 750,000 users. While the game itself is now defunct and serves as a forgotten relic of the MMO era, a criminal case stemming from the game is still talked about today. This infamous tale begins all the way back in 2004 with 2 Legend of Mir players, 41-year-old Chu Chongwei and 26-year-old Zhu Taoyun. Chu and Zhu both lived in the Chinese city of Shanghai, and while they knew where each other lived...
Yo, I ain't never seen what Shanghai looked like. This place look lit. Might have to go there, all right? Listen, America, I'm about to take some of my American dollars over there, okay? I'm sorry. Look at this place. Beautiful.
They didn't really hang out in person. Most of their friendship existed on the internet through the Legend of Mir. The 2 would occasionally team up in the game to clear dungeons and hunt for loot in the Legend of Mir world. And speaking of loot, any of you watching that are familiar with MMORPGs know just how much drama rare loot drops can cause.
Yeah, I want that ring. I do.
Alright. Who else wants it other than rogues? Because all the rogues can't roll on it. Kron, what are you doing?
What the fuck? Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh my god.
I mean, a dispute over a rare item.
Bro, I remember when people on RuneScape used to get you know what I'm saying, they treasure took. I ain't never played RuneScape, but I heard about it.
Can cause year-long friendships to disintegrate and even the tightest of guilds to implode from within. Which of course brings us to the topic of the Dragon Saber. A sought-after, high-leveled, and graphically impressive melee weapon, the Red Dragon Saber was one of the rarest drops in the Legend of Mir. An item coveted by all and wielded only by the luckiest and wealthiest of in-game players. And that being said, one day, Chu was playing with another in-game friend named Lee, and they just so happened to get the item as a drop. Upon the discovery of the drop, the 2 would make a pact, agreeing to basically share the Dragon Saber and lend it amongst themselves when a person needed it. Now this is where Zoo comes back into the equation. Eventually he would learn of Chu's Dragon Saber drop, and he also learned that Chu was cool with lending it out to people. So one day he asked Chu if it would be okay for him to borrow the item as well. Chu, feeling as if he could trust Zoo, at some point lends out the blade to the 26-year-old. And for a short time, things go well with Zoo hanging onto the blade, not doing anything shady with it. But like many other legendary blades in fiction, sometime after wielding it, he starts getting devious thoughts flood his mind. The man gets greedy. While in possession of the sword, Zoo finds himself browsing eBay and notes that people were selling Legend of Mir items on the site. And to be specific, he noted that some Legend of Mir Dragon Sabers had been selling on eBay for close to 8,000 yuan.
What is that in dollars?
Comes close to $1,000 adjusted.
Listen, if you take what I gave you, all right, and you go sell that bad boy for a rack, okay? I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I play Mass Splinter Cell. I'm in the back door with the lockpick. And I'm going to be standing over you like this. Hey, buddy. I know you're having a nice sleep down there. I need my stuff back. Facts. All right? Don't play with me, okay? Don't play with me.
For today's inflation. For a virtual sword, that's a pretty hefty price tag. After learning of the sword's real-world value, that's when Zoo makes the decision to betray the trust of his online associate and sell the blade. The Dragon Saber would eventually sell to an anonymous individual for the price of 7,200 yuan, which comes out to approximately $900 adjusted for inflation. Naturally, time would come for Chu to ask for the blade back from Zoo. And whenever Zoo informed him about the sale, that's when Chu became enraged. Chu would ask for some sort of monetary split from the blade thief regarding the sale.
He better give him
some. The idea was entertained by Zoo for some time, but no money was ever doled out and the guy ghosted him. Furious.
See, now you ODing. My man's even tried to give you an out. He said, look, just give me some of the bread, bro. You got 900 of them things. Throw me about 500. Since it was mine in the first place, I should get the majority split. That's all he had to do.
Chu would go to the police over the matter, explaining that someone had stolen his online item. But to his surprise, police informed him that there was nothing they could do about it because digital property wasn't considered real property under the law. So technically, no crime actually occurred. Seeing that no justice would be served, that's when Chu takes matters into his own hands and hatches a sinister plot. In October of 2004, reports say that Chu would travel to Zoo's apartment complex on Kipu Road in the city of Shanghai. And in the early hours of the morning, the incensed man would break into Zoo's residence. Zoo is awoken by the intruder, but before he has time to process what's happening, he's attacked by a knife-wielding Chu Chongwei. Chu would go into a blind rage, brutally
said, look,
stabbing
you took
Zoo
my
in the
blade,
chest.
I'm gonna give you
The
another
man
one.
would pass away sometime later. Likely feeling that he got revenge from the situation, Chu would then turn himself into police. Chu would eventually be convicted of murder and was initially sentenced to death for his...
Son. I know old buddy was in Canada. They supposed to be nice up there or something. But my man killed 4 people, slit their throat. All right? Now, this for no reason, all right? Because my man couldn't get good grades, might I add, okay? My man here, he got something stolen from. Cop said, you're on your own. Go handle that yourself. Hey, my man popped out. But sentence to death is crazy.
disproportionate response to having his item stolen in a game. However, the sentence would be reduced to life in prison. The family of the murdered young Zhu is quoted as saying this: "We want Chu to die, and immediately." While no such capital punishment was ever executed, Chu will have to live the remainder of his days knowing that he threw his life away over an item in a game that doesn't even exist anymore. Was it worth it?
I mean, he said, you stole my stuff, I'ma steal your life. You know, hey, man, listen. Bro, shit took the L. I definitely would have took the L. Ain't no way. The RuneScape. What is... we got a RuneScape one.
Our next story is a bizarre case involving a gamer and his long-distance love interest. After experiencing rejection, this
Bruh.
young gamer goes to disturbingly extreme lengths to get revenge on his former online sweetheart. Our story really begins all the way back in 2007 with Shane Coffey from Weymouth, Massachusetts. 14 years old at the time, Shane Coffey was an avid RuneScape player and actually managed a YouTube channel at the time documenting his adventures in the MMO.
Yo, y'all go ahead, ban Slick City Show in the chat, please. Thank you.
Often known by his in-game alias Ice the Elf and Xbox gamer tag Coffee522, Shane actually had some degree of success as a RuneScape content creator in the early days of YouTube. Several of his God Wars dungeon tutorial videos received over 100,000 views, which is extremely
we got
impressive for this era
wave
of
reveal at
YouTube.
50K,
Shane
man.
was also one of the first to discover one of RuneScape's most notorious glitches, the infamous Mew glitch. This glitch involved the player using alt keys to type the Mew character into in-game chat. When Mew was submitted to a public chat room, the Mew character would crash the game client for any players within your vicinity. RuneScape is
Why would they
also
do
where
that?
Shane would meet one of his first romantic interests, a
Online
girl from
dating
the
in
United
RuneScape?
Kingdom
Exactly.
named Farah Dalwood. Farah and Shane played RuneScape almost every day together. The two would maintain contact for years, with Shane reportedly sending the girl Christmas gifts. Shane would eventually quit playing RuneScape and move on to Call of Duty on his Xbox 360, but he still kept in close contact with Farah through Skype and other messaging services. And this sort of close communication would continue on into their late teenage years. But what we find is that as Shane got older, he became more obsessive and a borderline stalker of his long-distance
Do you even see any, like, pictures of this girl,
Shane,
bruh?
19 years old at the time, reportedly tricked Farah into downloading a virus that would give him remote access to her computer. And doing this, he looked into chat logs and discovered that she was talking to other guys.
He is sick. Oh my God. Listen, this is look. This is how people become tier 3 subs, no cap. All right? We watched Wavy Web Surf video about who was that video that had the Twitch stalkers and all that stuff? This is how this happens, man. Go outside, touch some grass, breathe some air. Please, please, I beg y'all.
And just to add, I've never seen any reporting explicitly stating that these two were like boyfriend and girlfriend. I think they were just flirty online friends. And let's also keep in mind that these two live literally thousands of miles away from.
If he went to the United Kingdom, listen, you know what you could have did with the money that you would do to do that? You could go to 04. There was a website called Craigslist. All right. That's where we're going to leave it. Now, man.
From each other, okay? When Shane discovered Farah's
Gavin was
conversations
good.
with other guys online, he completely blew up on her. This creepy invasion of privacy prompted Farah to cut all ties with Shane, blocking him on Skype, WhatsApp, and other services. He was completely cut from her life. Apparently, the kid wasn't able to handle rejection because he immediately starts planning out revenge. If you thought the computer virus bit was unhinged, wait till you see what he does next. In the wake of being rejected, Shane would purchase a plane ticket,
How much was it?
fly to the United Kingdom, and book a hotel. Because Shane had previously exchanged Christmas presents with Farah, he knew what her home address
This is sick.
was. And on April 18th of 2014, Shane would make his way to Farah's residence, equipped with a hunting knife. Late in the evening, Shane would break into the home and made his way to the young woman's room. As she was sleeping, Shane jumped on Farah and
Bro, I'm gonna show you who this guy is. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I've seen this guy before. All right. And he's a menace to society. All right. Here he is. This is him. This is him, chat. This is him. That's him right there. We got him. We got him. Get him out of here.
began viciously attacking her, stabbing the woman repeatedly. Farah screams for help, and moments later, her brother Muhammad enters the room. Muhammad springs to action, grabbing Shane's neck from behind and throws the blonde-headed intruder from atop his sister. It's at this point where Muhammad produces a metal rod. Using the rod, he quickly overpowers the knife-wielding gamer, beating him into submission. Battered and bruised, Shane eventually yields and pleads to Muhammad for—
And yields? You're done, buddy. Listen, you are going to the other side right now, okay? Ain't no stop. Yo, you're done.
him to stop hitting him. Muhammad would comply, calls emergency services, gets help for his sister, and the teenager is arrested. Fortunately, despite receiving numerous stab wounds, Farah would survive the attack and make a full recovery.
Box. True.
After his arrest, Shane would be charged with attempted murder. Further investigation would reveal that sometime before coming to the UK, Shane had Googled some pretty suspicious stuff, such as how to engage in hand-to-hand knife combat and the quote, life in UK prisons. Speaking of UK prisons, in November of 2014, Shane Coffey was sentenced to serve life in prison with a chance to make parole after 8.5 years served. They completely threw the book at him, which was well-deserved in my opinion, considering the lengths that he went to get revenge for simply being turned down by a girl. I'll bookend this segment with a quote from the lead detective of the case. While this kind of incident could not have been anticipated and is extremely rare, it is a clear reminder of the dangers that the internet may pose. We would always urge caution when engaging with people you do not know online, and would strongly advise that you do not give out any personal details.
This is why you just meet people in real life, bro. Some people live in cities that got more people. That's fine. If your city got, you know what I'm saying, 500 people in it, you better get you some riz, big fella. Get you some jokes and go outside. Become that guy. All right? Get you enough money, move to another city that got some more options if that's what you want. The internet?
Details whatsoever.
The Halo. This man played legendary mode in real life.
Our next story is a deeply disturbing one, involving a seemingly well-adjusted teenager shooting his family after they took away his copy of Halo 3. Daniel Petrick, age 16 at the time of this story unfolding, was by all means a normal kid. Living with his mother and father in their home in Wellington, Ohio, Daniel attended Wellington High School.
Yo, he looked like what was show? Malcolm in the Middle? Wasn't there a character that, or Max Keeble? He looked like one of them, you know what I'm saying?
And had many friends. People that knew Daniel described him as happy and easy to get along with. Daniel's father, Mark Petrick, was a Pentecostal church minister at a local church called the New Life Assembly of God. Daniel regularly attended services here, and clergy members described him as, quote, enthusiastic about the Bible.
Okay.
All things considered, Daniel was a good kid.
Ashton was good.
However, in 2006, things would take a turn for the worse after he suffered an injury during a skiing accident. Following the incident, Daniel also developed a serious staph infection resulting in spinal cord injury. Daniel's health complications would require the once active young man to remain homebound for a year to facilitate recovery. During this time of limited activity, Daniel would pick up unsavory habits such as spending hours upon hours a day watching television and playing video games. One video game series in particular that would prove to be extremely addictive for Daniel was Halo. While he was mostly homebound, Daniel was on occasion allowed to go to his friend's house, and it's here where he really got into the Halo franchise. When Daniel
Halo
was with
2
his
is
friend,
better
he
than
would
Halo
spend
3.
hours a day playing multiplayer.
Matter of fact, Halo 2 is the best Halo ever created. If you disagree, drop your address. All right?
And he would become completely addicted to the game. Daniel would attempt to play Halo at his house as well, but after his religious father discovered the game's ESRB rating, the aliens, and the excessive violence in the game, he banned it from the house. And seeing his son's growing addiction to Halo, he would give him an ultimatum: either stop playing the game or get out. After receiving this ultimatum, Daniel would choose the latter option and go stay with his friend for the weekend. There, he would play more Halo and continue to feed his addiction. At this point, it's really the story of a gaming addiction deteriorating a family relationship, but it gets far worse than that. The time frame of Daniel getting kicked out of his house was in early October of 2007, And around this time, the newest edition of Halo, Halo 3, had been released to the public. In spite of his father's wishes, Daniel would secretly pull together the $60 needed and bought the game. He was eager to grind away at hours of multiplayer matches. However, at some point, when Daniel was returning home, his father catches him attempting to smuggle the copy of Halo 3 into the Petrick residence. After this discovery, the
Bro, no cap. That's what we did with San Andreas, all right? We had to go to our neighbor, give them the money, we had to get a memory card, you know, give them, hey, slide this for me real quick, you know what I'm saying? Bring that up. Hey, yo, meet me up the block, all right? Hey, come on now.
The game was immediately confiscated by Mark. The disgruntled father would put the copy of the game in his lockbox next to his 9mm handgun. While Daniel was extremely upset the night of the confiscation, as days passed, it appeared he relaxed and came to terms with the loss of the game. But this state of placation was all a big show, as Daniel had formulated a devious plot to get his hands back on the game. On the evening of October 20th of 2007, Daniel would discover the location of his father's lockbox keys. While his parents were distracted watching television, Daniel would sneak into his parents' room and break into the safe, taking not only the copy of Halo 3, but also his father's gun.
See? You made him choose between a real gun and a fake gun, and he took both, all right? He's going to use the fake gun for his pleasure and the real gun for your demise. Bro, let that boy play them games, man.
At approximately 7 p.m., Daniel reportedly walked up to his parents from behind as they were sitting on the couch. And it's at this point he's quoted as saying, "Can you two close your eyes? I have a surprise for you." The family obliged, and moments later, Daniel would draw the handgun and shoot both of his parents in the head. After shooting his family, Daniel would place the gun near his father's body in an effort to stage the crime scene and implicate his father for the shooting. However, while he's doing this, a visitor comes to the house.
Oh, he's
Daniel's sister and her husband would arrive to the residence for a planned viewing of a televised baseball game. Daniel knew these two were coming, but they arrived 2 hours earlier than expected, catching Daniel off guard. When the couple got to the door, they found it locked and Daniel wouldn't let them inside. However, eventually they managed to get in and discovered the horrific scene. Daniel, now in a panic, would take the keys to the family van and flee the property. He reportedly had plans to travel to his Halo-playing friend's house and hold out. But Daniel's escape plans would be thwarted after his sister dialed 911 and reported the murder.
My mom is shot and my dad is shot. My brother's here. My brother said, "Don't come in, don't come in."
Police would intercept the stolen van and take the deranged teenager into custody.
Yeah, close your eyes. I got a surprise. It's insane.
Why would my dad shoot my mom?
There's no way he fake crying. There's no way he's fake crying right now. Over Halo? Fake crying? My dad shot my mom. And then he shot himself. Stop it. You're done.
I don't know, man.
Lord, please don't let my dad die. Please don't let my dad die.
What comes next is a bizarre interrogation where Daniel shirks any responsibility for the incident. Rather, he spins an unbelievable narrative trying to frame his own father for a murder-suicide.
My dad was just yelling, just screaming at my mom. And then I heard my dad walk in the room, into his bedroom, and then walk back out. I ran out there.
He's still trying to blame his dad. That boy gonna go down with that lie, man.
And then he said he was sorry, and then he shot himself.
The gaming-addicted teenager was taking no responsibility for what he had just done to his parents.
He's done.
Unfortunately, Daniel's mother, Susan, was sadly killed during the shooting. However, his father, Mark, would miraculously survive the attack despite a shot to the head.
Oh, he's finished.
Daniel shoot.
Mark would eventually make a full recovery and would be able to participate in the inevitable murder trial that his son would be facing. Daniel's trial would be—
No. Let him out. Let him out. All right? Bring him out the jail. Let him 1v1 me out here, big fella. You're done. Okay? You're done. Now, boy, listen. Give me the little sword from Halo. Give him nothing. We going to combat. You ain't going in. Thought you was about to send me to the pearly gates? No. Participate in murder trial, Your Honor. I seen nothing. All right. I actually don't even think he did it. All right. Jury, it is on y'all to find this man innocent and send him back into the real world. Go ahead. Hey, man.
Again, in December of 2008, in court, prosecutors would attempt to portray Daniel as a cold and calculated killer, a deranged sociopath that was willing to kill his own family over something as trivial as a video game. They noted that Daniel had planned out his murderous plot a week ahead of time and attempted to frame his father after the killing. The defense would present a rather interesting case for Daniel. Rather than attempting to deny any of the facts of what had happened, the defense tried to argue that Daniel was not guilty by reason of insanity, essentially claiming that Daniel's Halo addiction was so severe that it caused him to make irrational decisions out of his control in an effort to feed that addiction. His attorney would make an additional argument, one suggesting that Daniel was playing Halo so much that his perception of reality was warped by the game itself, noting that when players die or kill another in-game, they always respawn. You know, the argument basically suggesting that Daniel's mind was so warped and influenced by the game that he literally thought that if he shot his parents, they would recover, respawn, or just magically get better.
See, I think this is the thing. When people live in like smaller cities or smaller, like more like rural areas, like you don't really have real life to compare it to. Like if you live in a bigger city, you actually know people who, you know what I'm saying, went back to the lobby, right? So you can rationalize this video game's not real, but like if everybody you ever knew besides like super old people, you know what I'm saying, that died of old age, you know what I'm saying, around you, you don't really, it's hard, it might be harder for you to contextualize, like, listen, Ain't no green mushrooms out here for you, Mario. You run into Bowser and lose, you're done.
Like Halo characters do. It's an interesting argument, but it would ultimately not satisfy the court. After the emotional trial had concluded, Daniel Petrick was found guilty of aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, and tampering with evidence.
How long
did
he get?
In June of 2009, 17-year-old Daniel Petrick was sentenced to serve 23 years to life in prison. He will become eligible for parole in 2030. A lot of
UK, let me talk to y'all for a second, okay? Y'all had, now I know this was America, but in the UK, all right, that man came over there for RuneScape. You know what I'm saying? Attempted. And they sentenced that man to death. My man got he told his parents, close your eyes, all right? I got a surprise for you. And there's no way. There's no way.
Time has passed since the Halo 3 shooting incident in 2007. Daniel and his father Mark have both had ample time to reflect on the situation. Prison interviews show an extremely remorseful son and a father that has learned to forgive Daniel for his actions.
I can't count the number of times he has told me that he's so sorry for what he did and he'll never be able to forgive himself. I can't count the number of times that he said, Dad, I miss Mom. I miss Mom.
I've always taken responsibility for it. I don't try to deny that. I know it's nobody's fault but my own.
Your dad at that time was fighting for his life. Mm-hmm. When he finally came to, he said that he hated you. He despised you.
How'd you feel about that?
Can you understand that?
Absolutely. You know, could I blame him? You know, in light of what I did today, even if that was the way he still looked at me, could I blame him?
His dad is different, all right? Listen, my future son, if you watch this video and you are upstairs in your room like, yo, my dad used to be a cool YouTuber, man. Look, I want to take them off and send them back to the lobby. Let me let you know this right now. All right. Listen, if you try, you better succeed. Oh, that's crazy, yo. Cause look, I am not his dad. Hey man, I'm joking. YouTube, this is jokes. All right. This is called satire. Okay. This is not against community guidelines. You hopefully, please, you know what I'm saying? But
I don't think I could. We all deserve forgiveness. And I will now continue to choose to forgive my son. I want to help him. And I want to help get the word out to other people so these kinds of things don't continue.
Like my son shoot me in the foot. I could forgive you. You shoot me in the leg, it's a couple major arteries I could have bled out. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Shoot me in my hand. I need those. These things do valuable things, you know what I'm saying? But my head, you're done. You are finished.
Happen like the Sandy Hook shootings in Connecticut.
Hold on, what?
Don't. And I want to help get the word out to other people so these kinds of things don't continue to happen like the Sandy Hook shootings in Connecticut.
A tragic story of video game addiction and murder. That was the story of Daniel Petrick, the Halo 3 killer. And that wraps up my video game killers compendium.
Bro, no cap. We gonna turn it, my son do this. Zeus and you know what I'm saying, Kratos. All right? Meet me in the Coliseum. We got something to talk about. We got things to handle. Hypothetically in Grand Theft Auto, all right? You know what I'm saying?